You are watching
I think
Xirtus.
a lot of people like the idea of like good versus evil. Like we're in some sort of a struggle between the light and the dark. Like, is that real? I mean, because like the Veda is different than the Persians. The Persians are saying it's the opposite. Even though they're both agreeing there's a dynamic. They're saying one has to integrate. And the Hindus is the Veda saying
Oh, the
that
Hindu is
more?
very integrative. I mean, the Asuras are like you said, like they could be considered titans. Um, are they bad? I guess there's like a standpoint epistemology going on, right? Like from a perspective, yeah, they could be inimical, right? Like how about this greed? Greed seems to be like one of the problematic things now, where you have like a money ball, like just sucking up all the economic value of everything, and just sort of like parasite vampirizing, everybody's financial energy. But what if you have agreed to attain devotion to God, right? So like, or like you have lust, right? You have a lust. You want to integrate with a lady or a man, but what if you turn that desire towards God? Like you want to be close to God. uh, you want to be near God. You want to approach the Lord. So like I think all these things can kind of get turned on their heads. So I think sometimes we're caught up in semantics, like we're in these word games that aren't like, they're not fully interrogated, and like there's implications that there's useful implications in the good versus evil thing. I'm not saying that one should practice evil. So that's the thing. Everybody will take everything, and most people just twist it and use it to excuse their bad behavior. But I don't think, at least, so there's a difference between what I think and then what a tradition says. Like I subscribe to like the Indian stuff, but I'm also kind of a universalist, so I'm interested in all religions. So what do they each say about themselves? I can't speak for everyone. I can't even speak for a particular culture. So good versus evil in the Indian thing, they're integrated. Like there's saints born within the demon families that just reject, the Asuric worlds. They're like,
Yeah,
no,
so
these.
like how different are the like how different are they then? If they can make that choice and reject that, I mean, are they then the same thing? Are like Asuras and Suras basically the same thing? Or how different are they really? Because they're
Well,
doing the same thing but serving themselves versus serving God. Is that the difference? Or
that's the main difference. That's the main difference for the Indian, at least for like the lore, what's called the Purana. The Purana, the word just means old, so it's considered to be like collections of the oral tradition of like stories told, like the bardic traditions, so to speak, the lore of the gods and the demons, or the anti-gods, right? um but God, I wish I could remember exactly what you said, but the
serving God versus serving themselves.
yeah, the Asuras are like, am I not great? So it kind of does seem Luciferian sometimes, like, am I not great? It's like you are great, right? But like you like everything in its right place, so like, yeah, everything would be subordinate to like the ultimate God, right? So anything created by that being. Yeah, it's interesting. These are like the big questions that are like open-ended. I think this conversation is very hypothetical, right? Like we're touching and going, but as we go we learn more and more. And like today I was like, what are we finding out? Asia is connected to the word asura, and all kind of interesting things.
Yeah, so like do you think also because of that, like do you feel like the world is run if these are powers have influence in our world, do you think the world's more influenced by the Asuras or the Suras? Like, who do you think's getting more? This world represents more, the self worshippers or the God worshippers?
Well, they're getting more material, but the spiritual people are getting more spirit. It's kind of like
So everybody's winning.
everybody's pursuing their goals, right? Or not, or talking about them and not pursuing them. There's this like whole spectrums. It's very complicated, you but I would like to know how they're connected. I think the thing I'm trying to find out is, how are they connected? The good versus evil question, yeah, to me, I'm very like practical. Like, yeah, I want to avoid evil and do good. Like, what is bad? Like, so okay, so the Asura king. Here's an example. even the Asura king dying, having been slain by Ram, right? So there's Ravana. He had all good qualities except for he was too lusty. So he, kidnapped a woman and ravished her, raped her, and so she cursed him, "You'll die by a woman." And then so he ends up getting killed because he abducts Sita, right? So Sita is such a beautiful woman, right? She's the goddess of fortune in the Indian tradition, but she's a beautiful woman. He ends up getting attacked. Sri Lanka gets attacked by Ram. He gets killed, and on his deathbed, though, he's so smart. He has 10 heads. And then Ram sends Lakshman to him, and he's like, even though he's an Asura, he knows so much, and he's so wise. It's like, what? So it's like, try to get some knowledge from him before he dies that we can share with people. That's how the Indian system is very integrative like that. Even though like he's the enemy and he has bad qualities, they also recognize his good qualities. So it's kind of like fairly neutral or objective in that sense. But then his response is pretty funny. So Ravana says, he just like kind of wipes his hand away, and he says, "What is good, you should do it as soon as possible, and what is bad, you should delay as long as possible." That's what he says.
Just try to keep it from happening.
Like, procrastinate the bad and do the good right now. Like, don't procrastinate the good, procrastinate bad. Is basically what he says. And he's like not an ordinary person. He was basically able to boss all the planets to all fit into the horoscope in the 11th house of his son Indrajit. So like he's not like an ordinary person. He was bossing the planets around and like forcing them into certain houses so that his son Indrajit, Indrajit means the conqueror of Indra. He wanted his son to defeat Indra, right? Who's the head of the Devas. Indra just means head. You could say Vishnu is Indra also. Or Indra is an aspect of Vishnu. Indra is a solar deity, and Vishnu is a solar deity. They're kind of like similar. They might even be the same person or an aspect of the Vishnu. But it's funny that so like he's an Asura. He's so strong he can force all the planets into the 11th house, which is like the beneficial house. Like whatever planets in the 11th house will like be like very beneficial for the person. So he just forces them all in there, except for Shani. He stuck one little toe. I can't remember if he did it into the 12th house, but he sticks his toe over that line, and I think, and it caused a fatal flaw where Indrajit also ended up dying in the battle, even though he had all the planets on his side. So it's not like he's like so he's definitely a divine being if he can boss the planets around. But for him to just summarize with all his divine knowledge is like, what is good, don't procrastinate, do it now, and what is bad, delay, don't do. So I take with the good and evil, I do kind of follow that very pragmatic advice,